What is up, guys? Today we finally got some Musa buffs, so that's pretty exciting, right? So the way we're going to discuss this video is we're going to talk about the buffs themselves and what I think about them. But before I get into that, I want to talk about where I felt Musa stood before these buffs, and I think that this class was sitting anywhere from mid-tier to like bottom A tier. The class wasn't the best class, but it also wasn't the worst class, if you know what I'm saying. I felt like I sat somewhere in the middle to bottom A tier. I think that makes a lot of sense for this class. It's got a lot of utilities. But let's go ahead and get into the buffs themselves. So the first one was with our maneuver training, which is our evasion increase. So that's actually in pre-awakening. And what they're saying is that they fixed the issue where the actual increase of evasion was applied lower than what is stated in the description. So basically what they're saying is that our evasion wasn't being applied properly per level. So basically it was bugged. Now I haven't got to test it. I would rather just wait that out. I'll probably make a separate video on the evasion itself with Musa compared to other classes, but hopefully this will help us a little bit in terms of survivability because we were pretty squishy. And then the next bullet point they mentioned was the following Crescent Blade skills cooldown time has been adjusted to make more flow skills available, as it wasn't readily available before, forced users to repeat the same skills due to the long cooldown time. Okay, so they're going to reduce our cooldowns. And they were on below the belt. So level 1 received a 2 second reduction, level 2 was the same, and level 3 also received a 2 second cooldown reduction. So of course I'm level 61 and I now have a 8 second cooldown below the belt, which is pretty nice. I mean, it's going to go from 10 seconds to 8 seconds, which is pretty good. Cooldown time of the skill Fiery Crevice has been decreased, and Frontal Guard effect has been added. So this is now a 6 second cooldown. Previously it was 7, so we got a 1 second cooldown reduction on that. Okay. And it looks like here it says that Forward Guard is only going to be applied during cooldown. So basically, if we use it on a cooldown, it's not going to have Frontal Guard. So make sure when you guys use this, and you are going to use it, if it's not after a combo ender, make sure you use that attack after the cooldown is over. Otherwise, you will not have Frontal Guard on it. So what I think about these buffs. So I think the cooldown reductions were in the right step. I don't think we needed cooldown reductions. So let me explain why I don't think it's not as good. So honestly, anytime we're going in a siege or large scale scenario, as they said in the patch, that we were sitting on cooldown, which is very true. We basically did a few skills, backed up, and we sat on cooldown. So shaving off 2 seconds off below the belt and Fiery Crevice really don't do much for us, because regardless, we're not going to go in without backflow, because backflow is one of our core skills which hits very hard. It's one of our core skills and we use it quite often. And we also use Crust Crusher, which is almost a 30-second cooldown, which is kind of ridiculous itself. Anyways, yeah, I don't really think this cooldown reduction will really help, because really, I'm not going to go in and do that to someone, because that's not going to kill someone at the end of the day. Like, even if I have large amounts of AP, me doing this is not going to kill someone. What's going to kill someone is if I do this to them. Oops, we got cooldown, my bad. It's if I do this to them. That's what can kill someone, not two hits. So I don't really see where they were going with the cooldown reductions, to be honest. It really doesn't help us that much, considering we're really waiting for this and this. So yeah, I don't know what the devs were doing. I honestly don't even think they play the game if they gave us these kind of buffs. It just doesn't make sense to give us only these two skills, but it's in the right direction. I mean, it's better than nothing. Also, something else I realized is in KR, they reduced the cooldown, not the cooldown, but the startup of Fiery Angel. And it is actually a lot quicker. They didn't put it in the patch notes for some reason, but so you guys know, Fiery Angel got a buff. It basically starts up a lot quicker, as you can see. It just goes very quickly, which I like because Fiery Angel is a really good skill. I like to use Backflow after that, which is a very big stun, and Super Armor, of course. And now with the Frontal Guard buff, we can now do this, or if we're chasing, sometimes we can do this, because now it has Frontal Guard. So I think the Frontal Guard change is very good. That's a great change in my opinion. That's actually gonna definitely make us a little bit more aggressive, but I think the cooldown reductions are useless. They don't do much for us. But the Super Armor Edition after Fiery Angel is going to be a lot more dangerous because us doing this, it's going to come out a lot quicker because the startup is quicker. And then of course being able to do Fiery Crevice out of certain situations is going to be really nice. So if I can do something like this, sometimes you want to have cooldown, so it's going to give us a little bit of more versatility while being safe, which is nice. But I feel that the Frontal Guard is good, however, the cooldown reductions are pretty much useless. Before I end the video, one thing I wanted to bring up, I think they need to buff, if anything, if they're going to buff anything, they need to buff Backflow, and let me explain why. So there's a thing with Backflow where if you cancel it too fast, your damage won't come out, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. So if I do this, as you can see, only like maybe the first like hit comes out, like, so it'll be like 1063% times 1. Okay, now in order for the full damage of that to come out, I have to actually sit on it and then press F. So watch, if I delay it, all the hits are gonna hit. So if I do, that's the only way all 5 hits are gonna hit, which is stupid. I think that needs to get changed. It's also the same thing if you do it with the A strafe. So if you go like this, it's the same thing. The full hits don't come out. I think they need to buff that. Also, they need to also reduce the cooldown to be in match with Below the Belt and Fiery Crevice. That way, we really do feel the buff, because that's one of our main combos, and that's what really will one combo someone. Because, example, if I'm sitting out here doing this, now look, I have a 10-second cooldown on this, and by the time that comes up, I'm gonna have to do this again, which is not very good. I'm not gonna kill someone doing that. So I think they need to reduce the cooldown on that. So I really feel like as if the cooldown reduction on Below the Belt was useless, because it really doesn't do anything for us. What was huge was Fiery Crevice, and of course this being a lot quicker, which was not in the patch notes for whatever reason. That's my say on the matter. I think in the future, hopefully we're going to see more buffs. They're seeming to start doing buffs for us, so we'll have to see what happens. But I mean, that's all I got for this video. Peace.
I just realized something. Gosh.
NANI?! お前はもう死んでいる。
You're fine. Wow. Okay.
night.